Good evening, this is Dalsan TV English News and my name is Abdulrazak Ali. Let's have a look at some of the stories that are making headlines here in Somalia. China backs Somalia in row with Ethiopia about port deal. Djibouti president calls for extraordinary IGAD summit. Somali Disaster Management Agency delivers medical supplies to Janale town. Puntland State new vice president assumes office in a handover ceremony. Welcome back to this edition of Dalsan TV English News. Now, China has extended support on Thursday to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the federal government of Somalia, which is entangled in a dispute with Ethiopia concerning a port deal with Somaliland. China has extended support on Thursday to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Somalia, which is entangled in a dispute with Ethiopia concerning a port deal with Somaliland. China said it stands for upholding the purposes and principles of the UN Charter and support countries in safeguarding sovereignty and territorial integrity. Spokeswoman for the Foreign Ministry, Mao Ning, said, "Somaliland is part of Somalia," she added. Ethiopia signed a sea access deal with Somalia's breakaway region of Somaliland without the approval of Somalia's central government. Somalia rejected Ethiopia's Red Sea port deal with Somaliland, calling it illegitimate, a threat to good neighborliness, and violation of its sovereignty. It also recalled its ambassador to Ethiopia after the deal was announced. Ethiopia defended its decision to sign the deal and said the agreement with Somaliland will affect no party or country. The deal gives Ethiopia the opportunity to obtain a permanent and reliable naval base and commercial maritime service in the Gulf of Aden. Ethiopia lost its Red Sea ports in early 1990s after the Eritrean War independence, which lasted from 1961 to 1991. In 1991, Eritrea gained independence from Ethiopia, leading to two separate nations. The separation resulted in Ethiopia losing direct access to the Red Sea and key ports. The president of Djibouti, Ismail Omar Gele, and the current chairperson of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, has on Friday called for extraordinary meeting which will be held in Ugandan capital, Kampala. Djibouti President Ismail Omar Gele, the current chairperson of the Intergovernmental Authority and Development, IGAD, has on Friday called for extraordinary summit to address the spiraling diplomatic tension between Ethiopia and Somalia over the controversial port deal. The urgent IGAD meeting is also set to take stock of the current development and security political situation unfolding in Sudan, which have left hundreds of people dead and thousands of others abandoning their residential homes. Djibouti's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, in an official communication, said that the summit was convened by President Gele and will be hosted by President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda on 18th January 2024 in Kampala. The statement added that the summit will find solution to two main issues: the escalating strained diplomatic relations between Ethiopia and Somalia over the maritime agreement signed by Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Somaliland President Muse Bihi Abdi, and the current political and security upheavals in Sudan. The ministry further clarified that official invitations will be sent to all IGAD member states, the African Union, and international partners through diplomatic avenues. Somalia federal government has termed the deal unworkable and ratified a law to that aspect, nullifying the pact. Massive demonstrations and public pronouncements have recently hit the international and local news screen protesting against the Memorandum of Understanding. Somaliland, a separatist state that is yet to gain international recognition, has defended the deal and termed it as a milestone in achieving and advancing collaboration between the two sides. Now, the Somali National Disaster Management Agency, SODMA, has on Thursday delivered a much-needed assistance of food supply and medical supplies to Janale, Lower Shabelle region. Somali Disaster Management Agency has delivered a much-needed essential supply medicals to Janale district in Lower Shabelle region. The assistance is part of efforts aimed at addressing the health crisis in the area because of waterborne diseases brought by the El Nino-induced floods that pounded the area. The governor of Janale, Abdurrahman Al-Adala, who received the consignment of aid, expressed gratitude to the National Disaster Agency for the timely assistance to the residents, saying it will help alleviate the suffering of the local population who have been severely impacted by the floods. According to the National Disaster Agency, the locals in the area are trying to rebuild their lives and homes destroyed and disrupted by the flooding. This is not the first time the agency has delivered humanitarian aid to the area. On December last year, the disaster agency donated medicine to Janale Regional Hospital, where thousands of people who have been affected by the El Nino floods and river floods were being attended to. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, says 30,000 people have been adversely affected by the El Nino rains in Janale area. The unrelenting torrential downpour have also destroyed crops, livestock, critical infrastructure and livelihoods, rendering many people in need of food, water, shelter and health. SODMA has in recent days been heightening humanitarian interventions to the Somali people affected by the El Nino rains. Now moving on to our last story, the newly elected Vice President of Puntland State of Somalia has taken over his new reign in a well-orchestrated ceremony held at the region's presidential palace in Garowe. Newly elected Puntland Regional State Vice President has on Thursday taken over his new reign in a well-orchestrated ceremony held at the region's presidential palace in the capital Garowe. President Said Abdullahi Deni presided over the handing over ceremony, which was attended by senior government officials, judicial council, ministers, top security presidential commanders, presidential directors and advisors, and other high-ranking officials. Ilyas Osman Lugator took over the mantle from his predecessor Ahmed Karash Osman, who had held the position since 2019. Karash thanked the President, Deni and Council of Ministers for the cordial work relations they fostered during his tenure and wished well for his success and urged him to execute his duties efficiently. On his part, the incoming Vice President thanked outgoing colleague for the remarkable work he has done for the regional state during his reign. Eventually, President Deni, who spoke at the event, expressed gratitude to his former Vice President for the remarkable leadership role and distinguished service he has demonstrated during their term and wished him in his future endeavors. That's all we had prepared for you. My name is Abdulrazak Ali. Thank you so much for tuning in to Dalsan TV English News. Have a lovely evening.